Today we have amongst us Mr. Amitabh Satyam, Chairman of Smart Transformations and former Managing Partner of SAP India Bangalore. He has completed a 5-year Master of Science from IIT Kanpur. He has completed his MS from Ohio State University and MBA from Ohio State University Fisher College of Business. He has also done an executive leadership program in business strategy in Cornell University, New York. He was a managing partner with SAP India, worked at IBM, Siemens, Mobiapp, Reliance Communication, etc. Currently, he is the chairman of Smart Transformation for the past 7 years, specialized in digital transformation, focusing on IoT, smart cities, and machine intelligence. We welcome you, sir. I request our principal, Dr. Harish Babu, sir, to welcome Mr. Amitabh Satyam. Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Amitabh Satyam to take over the session.
All right, this is like a movie theater shooting. You know, when they shoot the movies, they put these kind of umbrellas. Okay, how is everybody today? Hello? Yeah. How is everybody? Good, good. So how many of you are doing an MBA in finance? Oh, a lot of them, and all of them are sitting on the left-hand side, my left-hand side. And the marketing guys are sitting on the other side? How many in marketing? Marketing is... I also did my MBA in '92, almost 30 years ago. And the reason can you tell me why I am jealous of you? Can you tell me why I'm jealous of you? Technology. Yeah, but that is for everybody. So I'm using the same technology today. Absolutely. And so I'm jealous of you because of that, because I have to struggle so much to get a job, whereas most of you guys will walk out the door with a job, right? So that is to do with how our economy and our country has changed. So that is basically, and also, do you consider yourself luckier than Americans? Do you feel that, you know, suppose you go to a college in New York State, you forget Columbia University or some Harvard, but if you go to a college, a good college, top 20, top 30 university in the US, and compare with the students there, do you think you are better off or they are better off? Who is better off? Who is better off, the American students or you guys? Huh? India. All right, very good. I also agree with that, because you know what? Their economy is declining. So they are higher than us. So you can imagine there is a car running 20 kilometers ahead of you and you are behind. But you are going 45, they are going 35. You will catch up soon, right? So that is how the situation is. We will soon be overtaking some of the largest economies. Do you know the ranking of Indian economy today? 5th. Whoever says it, say it like little bit like a hand so I can see who's spoke. Okay. Fifth. Okay. But why fifth? I thought we were third. Why? Okay. So I'll tell you why it's the difference between fifth and third. In Bengaluru, for example, Koramangala. Koramangala is a very expensive place, right? Nagar, Koramangala. You can get a 2-bedroom apartment for about 40,000 rupees. Very expensive. 40,000 rupees for 2-bedroom apartment. But you go to a smaller city, such as New York, which is 2/3 the size of Bengaluru. 2/3 the size of our city is New York City. And you get an apartment of the same size, how much you would pay? Can you guess? I'll tell you, it's about 3 lakhs per month. We'll pay about 3 lakhs per month to get a 2-bedroom apartment. And here you are getting, let's keep 30,000, so it's easier to compare. So 30,000 rupees, you get 2-bedroom, and 3 lakhs there you get a same 2-bedroom in New York. So they are paying 3 lakhs, so that 36 lakhs they are paying for a 2-bedroom apartment, and you are paying only 3.6 lakhs. Now who is richer? So suppose you're making 10 lakhs, and who is richer? You are both consuming the same amount of space, right? So just because they are paying more doesn't mean they are more rich, right? So that is the concept of purchasing power parity, that with 30,000 rupees we are able to consume the same benefits and the same value which is costing them so much more. If I come from Koramangala to come here, I paid only $10. But in the same distance in New York would cost me at least $60. Same thing, same car, same. In fact, our drivers are nicer than the drivers there, and all of that. And so, are they actually that much richer? So, if you make $100,000 in the US, are you living that kind of a life better than here? No. For $100,000 also, the quality of life here is better at 20 lakhs than 100 lakhs there, 1 crore there. In 1 crore there and 20 lakhs here, we have a better life here, because we can go to PVR and pay 300 rupees for a movie ticket. They go to an equivalent cinema hall and they pay 10 times more for the movie ticket for the same movie. And by the way, PVRs are better now than the AMC theaters. You know, have you seen AMC theaters in the US? There is AMC theaters just like PVR. PVRs are better than AMC theaters. So when people go from here to America to study, a lot of people go to study and to get jobs, right? Because we're considered really good. They are very disappointed now, because they go from here, the apartments are nicer here, the movie theater is also nicer here. And by the way, what else is nicer here? What we think of America is think of nice pubs, right? Nice pubs. We think of London and in New York. I mean, I have been to both these places. I have stayed there for a long time. They really have nice pubs. But you know who has nicer pubs? Nagar and Koramangala. They actually have nicer pubs. So, I mean, we have everything here. And I'm not comparing, I'm comparing things which are first world things. I'm not comparing some poor people, or you have somebody to come and help you. When you are sick, your neighbor will take you to hospital. Who does it in America? I'm not comparing those things. I'm comparing things for which America is better known. Pubs, food, taxi, apartments, theaters, broadband. We pay nothing for broadband, right? We pay nothing for broadband. It's free. 1 coffee per month. And we have unlimited broadband. In the US, it will cost you $60 for the same thing. $60 for the broadband that we get for practically free. Who is cheap? Who's wealthier? So somebody who is making 20 lakhs, or forget 20, 10 lakhs, you guys will get around that kind of a salary after you graduate or after 2-3 years. 10 lakh salary. You have better broadband than America. You have better movie theaters than America. Then you have better pubs than America if you're drinking. And you have better airports than America, right? I mean, you look at our airport, it is really nice. Delhi, Mumbai. We have 10 airports that are world class. Our airports are nicer. And I have stayed for all the major hotels in America, Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, Holiday Inn, etc., all of it. For 1/3 the price, I can go to a top hotel here, and the hotels are also better than America. So, all I'm saying is that you are very lucky. You are very lucky, you don't even know. It's like we went to sleep and the next morning we are a first world country. We are a first world country. You start believing it, and whoever tells you you are a third world country, you have to first really laugh really loud, like LOL kind of laugh. That you know what are you talking about? I mean, we have 5G here, and we don't even know we have 5G. I mean, most of us don't have it yet. But it's there, and it's not even costing us anything. Imagine getting 5G in anywhere else. It's like a big deal, we get 5G and all that. So we get so many things just like that. So today, India has so many things to offer. I'll give you an example, 30 years ago versus today. I was in the US, I just finished my MBA from a top 20 MBA institution. And then I was thinking I'll work for 2-3 years and then I'll go back to go back to India for living and working. So I started looking for a job, no internet in 92. So I bought magazines, Business India, Business World, etc. I got 2-3 magazines just to get the names and addresses of companies where I can write. So I wrote a letter, I laser printing and all that, put it in an envelope and sent. So that's what I did 30 years ago. See, in Business India magazine, I saw a list of the top companies where I should apply. And you know what I found? The largest company, and I want you to guess this one also. We'll be talking like this, okay? And be ready to answer. What is the size of the largest company? Sales-wise, you say sales, revenue, turnover, whatever. Largest company in India. Just guess the size of the largest company turnover in India. Anybody, including professors. It's just a matter, it's not a knowledge, it's just some factoid. Largest company in India in 92, 30 years ago. Tata. Tata, which Tata? There are like so many. Tata had 100 companies then, now also today have like 30. TCS? No. TCS barely, there was no IT then, very little IT. Tata Steel, okay. Fine. Tata Steel, I'll come to Tata Steel, but no. Tata Steel was not even in top 10, I think. Who was the largest company in the country? I want you to keep making some guesses. We'll take time. Anybody else? Any other guesses? Largest company in the country? Say it loudly. 2-3 of you say it. Reliance in 92, okay. Tata and Reliance, fine. I mean, you guys don't even know that 30 years ago they were not as big. So the largest company in the country was Hindustan Lever. Hindustan Lever, even when I was graduating from IIT Kanpur, that was the best job. If you got Hindustan Lever, your life is made. Even after IIM, everybody used to try to get Hindustan Lever. That was like the #1 job. For IIT, IIM, everything. #1 job was Hindustan Lever. Hindustan Lever, you know what they do? Like they make surf and Lifebuoy and Sunlight soaps, etc. So they are basically, they still do the same thing. Toothpaste, etc., etc. So that was the largest company. Not steel, not petrochemicals, none of that. And you can imagine that was the size of the annual sales was $1 billion. Annual sales was $1 billion. So I'm going to give you another question for you to answer. How many companies in India are making more than $1 billion profit today? In companies in India making $1 billion profit, not sales. Sales, there are hundreds of them now. Nobody counts 8,000 crore anymore as big. Profit. How many Indian companies are making more than $1 billion profit today? So $1 billion sales 30 years ago, 1 billion. So today, there are 20 companies in India making more than $1 billion of profit today. And TCS and Reliance they're all making more than $10 billion of profit every year. $10 billion profit, it's so hard to imagine, a lakh crore of profit. So life has changed so much. So while I'm envious of you, I'm happier than you because I have seen the change from one car company. And again, I'll keep quizzing you like this. I'm having fun today. How many cars India was selling then? Every year, how many cars? 30 years ago. Annual sales of cars. Tell me today and tell me about then. Any of you, just get a random guess. Even if it's a wrong guess, people would look at you, and then when I give the correct answer, people remember it. But if I just told you, they won't remember. But if they remember, if one of you answers it. So, number of cars sold 30 years ago. There were about 30,000 cars sold per year 30 years ago. Just 30 years ago, 30,000 cars. And do you know how many Tata Nexons are sold today per month? 15,000 per month. So in 2 months, only Tata Nexon is selling more than the annual sales of all the car in everywhere across the country. 30 years. Maruti came soon after. Maruti probably had come already. So including everybody, they were selling 30, 40,000 cars. Many reasons. One is that people couldn't afford to buy a car. So we were a poor country. Today we are not. Today, you know, the size of a car country, size of the car production or car sales in India, we are number 3 in the world. Just like that, I didn't even realize when that happened. Suddenly, boom, we are number 3 in the world. We have exceeded everybody. Germany, Japan, all the big names we have already overtaken. Only China is bigger. Who is the largest? Is China or America? Which one is bigger than us? Yeah. You have the microphone? America. So America is number 2 actually. They are bigger than us, but they are number 2. China is number 1. And a similar person like another Amitabh in China is talking to Chinese students and saying, do you know? And they are saying we are the largest. China is largest in everything now. America is gone. Europe is gone. When I say gone, I don't mean they are bad. I'm saying that, you know, all this huge power, we used to always imagine, oh, America, that is no more. That is no more. If you guys go to America, I was just telling your director, that look at this infrastructure and the building and the facilities. This is as good as the best in the world. We don't realize it because we have this imagination of how we see in the movies. But if you watch our movies also, they also look pretty exotic, right? We don't relate to them. So, number of cars, 40,000. Today, we are selling 4 million cars. 40 lakh cars we are selling every year, and we are the 3rd largest car company, car sales in the world. And of that, about 20 years ago, Ratan Tata went to America, and he talked to Ford Motor Company and said, you know what, please partner with us. We want to do car business in India. Ford guys laughed at him, that you are a small time truck manufacturer. We don't want to partner with you. Do you know what happened last year? Exactly. Ford came to India on their own and they lost so badly. They actually kind of just disappeared from the country. They just went away, Ford. And Tata bought their plant, which is in an emotional statement. They just bought it like an asset, which is fine. But the thing is that we can build a story around it, that, you know, you kicked us out and now we are buying your plant. I mean, it's good for political statements for sure. But that is true. We actually did that. Same thing happened to General Motors. When I was living in the US in late 80s and early 90s, General Motors and Ford were so powerful, that the whole thought of General Motors meant like they were the world's largest company. They actually were. $220 billion. Others were like nothing, not even half as big. Today, General Motors is slightly bigger than Tata Motors. Slightly bigger than Tata Motors. Ford also is slightly higher, but Tata Motors and Mahindra are $20-25 billion market valuation. 25 billion is not small. And we don't even make that many cars, but we'll be moving up. So the point is that Indian economy is firing on all cylinders. We make really good cars. Tata took only 18 months, only 18 months. So when the electric vehicle revolution started, the whole world said, okay, we'll do electric cars, everybody's doing electric cars, right? Volkswagen said they are going to invest $80 billion in developing electric cars, and they have many electric car models now. Similarly, everybody, Mercedes, BMW, they all have electric cars, and they have been working on it for 10 years. Tata Motors thought of it, and within 18 months, they bought an electric car in the market, that Nexon EV. And now they have the next release already, Nexon EV. Nexon EV works really well. I mean, it's not like some sort of a proof of concept. The cars are actually doing well, they're running well, people are happy. The car accelerates, the music system works, the sunroof works, everything works perfectly. And it's a regular, full-fledged electric car. Tata Motors raised $1 billion to develop more electric cars. Like I said, Volkswagen had said $80 billion. General Motors is $40-50 billion. We are doing only with $1 billion. But then who has cars already in the market? Tata Motors already has cars in the market. Mahindra will have two, three cars. So what I'm saying here is that, we have reached a level of maturity in our industry where we are already poised to lead the world. Now, if you go to, I was in Ecuador. Do you know where Ecuador is, the country? It's in South America. So it was 10 years ago. I was in Ecuador and for some business meetings. Then when I was walking through some residential neighborhood at night, and I saw Mahindra Scorpio there. I said, what the hell, Mahindra Scorpio? It's a completely unknown country. Most of us don't even know the name. So the next morning I came to office and I was asking my my IBM colleagues, I have seen this Mahindra car there. Do you guys? He said, yeah. It's considered very high-profile car. We love this car and then we are selling. And today, Mahindra is exporting so many cars now. If you go to South America, I've seen Mahindra and Bajaj scooters, and they're all there everywhere. In Africa, there were 200 scooter companies, 200 scooter companies in Africa. Very large area, right? Africa, 3 times bigger than India. All the countries, or maybe 2.5. All the countries, you can see the large in the map. Across all Africa, they are very poor, but they are very big, and not all of them are poor. So then they have 200 scooter companies, all from China. Now, everybody buys Indian there. Everybody is buying Indian motorcycles and scooters. We are better quality, this and that. I have nothing against Chinese. I think China is doing really, really well, and we should take inspiration from them. They don't look up to America ever. I remember when I was studying, I was only student from India, and there were 4 from China, 3 from Korea, and 1 from Taiwan, etc. So there were 10 foreigners, and then 20 Americans, and including me. So there were 10 foreigners and 20 Americans in my class, batch of 30 for PhD. Every Chinese person was very patriotic. They read their books in Mandarin, their own language. We read it, we bought English books like other Americans, and we used to be like, yeah, we can do English. They were buying Chinese books. All 4 of them went back. I tried to get hold of them, I cannot find them because they're not on Google or Facebook. So I have lost touch with one of them was a really good friend. We used to do car racing together. So what I'm saying is that China did not give any importance to America. He said, you do whatever. And 30 years ago, China was poorer than us. They're poorer than us. But then they continued building, and now they don't even consider America for anything. If you look at America versus China, China does everything better than America, right? Everything better than China is making 600 kilometer per hour train, 600 on superconductivity. Those of you who have studied science. US, they don't have trains anyway. Cars also, the number 1 selling car, number 1 electric car is not Tesla. Do you know which one it is? Tesla is synonymous with electric cars, right? But number 1 selling is not Tesla. Worldwide, I'm saying. It is BYD. And BYD value of BYD is bigger than almost every car company except 2 or 3. And they are Chinese companies. And BYD doesn't even sound very exciting. But they're so big. Just like that, they become big. So today, if you have a company worth size of, let's say, $10 billion, going from 10 to 100 is not a big deal anymore. I have water. Yeah. Thank you. So I just wanted to give you that perspective that today we are extremely well placed in everything. First of all, anybody praises other countries, you say, we are the first world. Our digital pay, and how do you decide something is first world or second world? I go to America, I have to pay cash. I know you pay credit card. Here we just do click. Now we don't think about it. We don't think about it as a big deal because we get so used to using Paytm karo. We just do it. But do you realize that we have 5G and we have digital payment and we have Aadhaar, that you just go to a shop and just put your finger and then everything has been authenticated? Whereas in America, not true. We just log in with our system and then we get all the data about ourselves wherever. I don't take my identification anymore. It's already on my phone. Which country does all these things? No country does all of these things anymore. So without us knowing, in the last, just in few years, we have gone from third world to first world. From third world to first world. And everybody is looking up to us now. The second big change is I was recently, 3 weeks ago, I was in Indonesia. I went abroad after Corona, so maybe 2-3 years of gap. 2.5 years of gap, I went abroad for some conference. I never take money. I used to travel so much, I used to never convert money. I used to just use my credit card and pay some extra premium, but I just used to use my card. All the countries, 30-40 countries I have been traveling for work or vacation, etc. But this time I forgot to take money. And normally we go to the airport, convert our rupees to dollars, and dollars to the local currency. So if I'm going to Thailand, then I go to our Bangalore airport, give them some rupees, they give me dollars, and I take the dollars to Bangkok, and from Bangkok they would convert to local Thai currency. Similarly, if I'm going to Germany, the same thing would happen. Wherever I go, I do the same thing. Indonesia also I went. You go to in Bangalore airport, convert from rupee to dollar, and then you give dollars to Indonesia, and they'll give you the local currency. This time I didn't do any of that, and I had forgotten actually. I went there and said, wait a second, I need local currency. What do I do? So I went to at the airport itself. I went and said, you know what, I'll give you rupees, because I had some 10,000 rupees in my wallet, which I normally carry 8,000 rupees. I said, let me convert 2,000-3,000 rupees of that. He said, yes, I will convert. Can you believe it? Using rupees in another foreign country? Unheard of. This whole thing of black money and hawala transactions and all of that used to happen only because there was a demand and supply gap. Today I can convert directly. Who is going to pay hawala now? So efficient market that you guys learn in your first year of MBA probably. That's what happens when there is an open market and efficient markets. So the rate and the price gets automatically selected, right? So that's basically where we are. I wanted to talk about this was like an introduction just to get you energized that having seen and lived elsewhere. Now I live here, and then I'm so proud and happy that I happen to choose. When I go to US, I walk around with like this, just like Modi ji. Hey, because I feel I'm doing better than you. It's true, they're all jealous of me. Because, I am living a very good life. They're not living a very good life. Only difference is that they have a nicer car than I have. But I used to have a nice car also. So car-wise also I had me. But our roads are not as good, especially inside the city. But highways now are as good. So now we are on highways also, we are just about as good as Europe and America. So that also is that kind of, in next 2-3 years, we'll have a lot more. So that's where we are. Now, when you graduate, there are 2-3 options you would have in terms of what you want to do. I also, as a part of IIT startups, there is a company called IIT Startups. It's not a company, it's a what is it called? It's for social service company, where we help startups. So I'm one of the mentors. And I mentor about 4 or 5 startups every year. I see the energy of startups. Recently, I was telling my British friends that, I live in Bellandur, very close to HSR. So I mean, official address is HSR. So I said 5-kilometer radius from my home, I have more unicorns than the entire England. I'm showing off a lot today, but just don't mind. I'm just showing off, but I'm not lying. This is all true. I told that guy that at 5-kilometer radius from my home, we have more more unicorns. Unicorns, a valuation of $1 billion. Just a term that has been used. You can say 10,000 crore, whatever, 5,000 crore. So I have more unicorns 5-kilometer radius from my home than the entire England. And that is actually true. Look at the number of startups in Indiranagar, Koramangala, HSR. Everybody is there. 80% of Bangalore startups are there, and they are more than the total in England also. So there's so much energy, so many new ideas, and people who are successful. I just wanted to remind you, people who are successful in startups are not those guys who have come from some hi-fi families or very rich people or some hi-fi IIT or something. IIT guys have advantages. We'll discuss it. Let's not worry about it. Just like the time of America is gone, time of IITs are also gone. IIT, I mean, I'm from an IIT, but still I don't think that IITians have to be, you guys have to ever worry about them. IIT degree is good only for the first job. After that, everybody just runs on their own. Just the first job. If you have one job, even a small job, and their IIT guy gets more salary, then you don't worry. 2-3 years, you can overtake him. So first job only IIT. So therefore, all startups are becoming very common. But the startups, a lot of people used to tell me, that, you have so many ideas, you're helping so many people, why don't you do your own startup? And then I will always tell them that, you do a startup only if you have an idea that will keeps you awake at night. Because you think that's such a great idea that why isn't anybody doing it? And then only you have found something that is worth pursuing. Don't do startup because let's do something kind of a thing. Recently, again, I had gone to IIT Kanpur 3-4 years ago, and I had a similar group of 200-300 students who wanted to know about startups and things like that, maybe 5 years ago. So this guy said, should I take a job or should I do a startup? I said, what kind of question is this? You don't do a startup because it's like another job. Startup is when you are compelled with an idea, right? You have to have an idea. You think that, okay, I see that these people have a problem and there is no solution for it. I'll create a solution. And that is your startup idea. So it's startup idea and jobs are not to be connected, saying that, okay, either I'll do a startup or I'll do a job. You just go with the default option of doing a job. Everybody apply for a job and get one. But keep your antennas open and keep discovering things. Keep learning how an auto rickshaw guy does his things every day. Constantly keep observing. How is he doing? What is he doing? How is this guy who is selling fruits? If you start discovering that everybody has problems that can be solved either using technology or using some intelligent way of doing business. And each one of you can actually become a billionaire then. All of you will not become, I know, but some of you can be. But all of you have the potential to be. All of you have the potential to be. So, did you have any questions? I have one small thing to mention after this. Anybody wants to ask any questions? They said I'll be answering questions also. I wrote some notes in the taxi. Just checking. Yeah. That's okay. I'll have some more things to say, then I'll say. No, the 4-day one, see, I'll tell you, the last chapter of my book, I have a book on smart city, which is, so I wrote a book on smart city about 6 years ago, 2017, and that's every country uses my book for smart cities. Now, last chapter of that book, I have talked exactly about this. That what happens when the efficiency in our economy go up, efficiencies in our economy increase so much that there is not enough need. So for example, if you look at one factory, let's say Apple factory in Taiwan, earlier they had 1 lakh people manufacturing 10 million phones. This is the TPP how it used to be, like 1 lakh people to 10 million phones a year. Now they have been done the factory automated so much, there are 100 people only working there. And 100 people working, and then they are doing more than 10 million phones, like let's say 20 million phones. So what happens to all the 99,000 people who are working there? What do they do? So the good answer is, no, we can't be absorbed in the economy doing other things. But what happens is that you have to worry about that because the rate at which automation is increasing. And I know you know about artificial intelligence and the ChatGPT being an example of it. And there are many more coming up. ChatGPT is for creating content and text. But there are many other things. The bigger automation is going on inside factories. Which we won't see that everything is happening automatically because machines are so smarter. So what happens to all the people who have a job? How do we absorb more people to do a job? There are two big costs. One is that there will be large number of people who will not have jobs. But the government will pay them because our size of the economy does not reduce. Right. With automation, manufacturing doesn't reduce, just the jobs reduce. So what happens is that either you reduce the number of people working or you reduce the number of hours working. So what would happen is that a lot of companies, and Europe is trying it already, and we should also do it. Reduce the number of hours so more people can get jobs. Right now, in all the companies, TCS, IBM, and Infosys, people are working 12 hours. People are working almost 10 to 12 hours. Suppose they work only a per day, I meant, and they're working 5 days, so 60 hours is a very common. 60 hours per week is very common. So suppose you reduce it to 30 hours per week. Suppose. Then there'll be twice as many people employed, right? So it is a philosophical question that wealth creation versus wealth distribution. That means an economy is creating wealth. Now, how do you give it to more number of people? Employment is one of the ways. That, I employ more people and therefore the money that I'm creating, I give to more people. So if you work 30 hours per week versus 60, then there'll be twice as many people. Now, if you discover soon that, then still there is more people, then you say, fine, you go down to 20 hours per week. So this is a natural evolution. When the population is increasing, so that a large number of people supply, and automation is reducing the need for people. So one is a reduction in need of people, but the number of people are increasing. So we have to find these solutions. Reduce the work hours so more people can get work, or just give free money. So there is a concept of universal income. You just read about it if you don't know. There is a concept of universal income where the government just pays money for free. In India, let's say a government pays 10,000 rupees to everyone. Say that, sorry, we don't have jobs, but there's enough income I'm getting from taxes, I'll give. And they give. So that is actually already happening, either to elderly or to women or to education fund or to dowry fund. I mean, there's a dowry also that government pays to people in the name of women's girls' marriage in UP and other places. They get 50,000 rupees. And so it's also based on some religion where certain people of religion get 30, 40, 50,000 rupees. And then there are 80 crore people out of 140 are being given free food. That given free food is also called a universal income. So free food, free healthcare, free this, free that is all part of universal income. Otherwise, everybody would have to pay for buying food and buying healthcare. So the government has already gone from naturally paying everybody based on labor to free food and free healthcare. So in India, we have become very socialist on one side, by distributing wealth, by giving free things. And the other side is extreme level of capitalism, where capitalism is good for creating wealth, right? Because a very efficient use of resources when you give it to the people, and then, but the distribution of that wealth has to be done using the government, using these kind of strategies. So 40 hour for 4 day per week, or for 30 hours per week is what they say. In Europe, they're trying to do 30 hours per week, down from 40 hours per week, or 4 days, or instead of 8 hours per day to 6 hours per day. All of that is true. So it is happening at many places. India also may happen. Right now we are not doing it, but it may happen. Any other question? Shall we close now? Huh?
Hello, sir. Myself, Pratiksha. Being a Silicon Industry Bangalore, so what's your opinion on IT hub industry in post-pandemic? IT hub industry in post-pandemic. In post-pandemic. Yeah. That's all.
What happens to IT industry after pandemic? Oh, I mean, pandemic has been good for us, except people who suffered in a way. 2-3 things happened after this pandemic. One is that everybody suffered, obviously. So I'm not at all talking about the lives lost and people who suffered. I'll stick to only the business side of it. The business side wise, 2-3 things happened. One is that we managed it really well. We managed it really well compared to other countries. We all suffered, but compared to other countries, we managed well. So that's number one. We created our own vaccine. So what happened is the world now knows that we are not just a cheap labor country, we are also staying ahead of the curve in innovation and research. So second thing happened. And the third thing that happened is that people got used to different working models. Now, if you look at the service industry, in service industry is different from manufacturing, because in manufacturing, you have to go to the shop floor and do your things, right? Physically do things in the manufacturing plant. And therefore, you have to go somewhere. And during the pandemic, people could not go to factories because of the... But service industry, and like I said, I keep referring to my book. In one of the chapters, I had said it already, that very soon there'll be no need to go to office. Because at IBM, I was not going to office already, even in 2009, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I mean, mine was a global job. Most of my subordinates were in all the countries in the world. Even if I went to office, there'll be just me and my secretary, who I don't have much to do with. Some just little bit, otherwise there's very little to do. So working from home, so this is a bigger picture I'm giving you. If my home, let's say, is a 1,500 square feet home, then I go to office, and my office has a 200 square feet cabin. That 200 square feet cabin costs about 25 to 30 lakhs to make. And 25 to 30 lakhs, you convert that into the kilos of cement and energy and all of that. So it's very expensive to create an office. It's expensive to create an office. Similarly, if you look at all the people who have two places, during the evening and night they are at home, and during the day they are consuming another set of real estate resources. So twice the real estate. If you look at the number of hours that we are staying in the office, I had calculated it, it comes to less than 200 hours per week, less than 200 hours per week. Actually, it's 150 hours, because we have so many holidays and vacation time and all that. So it comes to 150 hours per week. No. 8 times 5. 40 hours per week times 4. So 160. So 150, and then you have vacation, and you have meetings in conference rooms. So it's 120, I think, something like that. 120 hours in a month. So it is about 15% utilization. So we are utilizing our office only 15% of the time. So is it fair to make a large investment of so much money just to use it for a few hours? Why don't we share it? And then the moment you start thinking of sharing, then it becomes, oh, this is my cabin, I have my photo, I have my printer, I have my laptop sitting there and all. So executives like us always have this ego. It's more of an ego than actual use. Today you don't need anything. Today you can just give a laptop is where your office is. So, I have many laptops, and my data is also not on my laptop, it's on the cloud. So I can go to take up a random laptop also, and that becomes my office now. So the concept of office, the concept of working, not necessarily being where, and even if you suppose, I mean, most of you have not worked, I guess all the students have not had a job. When you do have a job, you go to office, you sit in a desk, you realize you're by yourself sitting in a desk. You're not doing anything with the person sitting next to you if you're in a service industry. So the service industry people are very well suited to work from home. Now what has happened because of pandemic, that we were forced. And earlier, HR people had this ego. I mean, I say it in a slightly negative sense. Oh, no, you have to come here at 8, by 8:55, you have to come. 9 o'clock attendance will start and you have to be here till 6. Now, what you do in that time, what you, etc., we don't know. The mindset has to change that we have to measure people's output rather than the time spent. Time spent, like a lot of people just log in. Lot of people, in fact, there was a video that is making rounds when this person is taking a call from home. But a lot of people take a call from home, they just put some jacket on and they don't even put the video on. They are wearing their pajamas and banyans or nothing, and they are doing their phone calls and everything, working from home. This guy went to the bathroom and shower room and he's taking a call, but video was on, he didn't realize that. So you can imagine how embarrassing it is. He's taking a shower completely without clothes and he's on video call with other colleagues. These things are just for fun and joke, but the thing is that people have to be judged based on the output you create. And a smart management system is where you are able to create work structures that you can assign and measure the outcome. We don't measure the outcome, therefore we say, okay, fine, we will measure the number of hours spent. It's just like, I'm also, like the cars, when they become 10 years old or 15 years old, we say, car is, you junk it because it's old. Anyway, so therefore, I think COVID, 2-3 things we have discovered. India is becoming more prominent worldwide because we managed our country much better. Right now, the inflation, do you know the inflation in England? About 10%. There used to only 1 or 2%. Now there's 10% inflation in England. Our inflation didn't go beyond 7%. Now it's back to 6 something. It was 4. It is slightly higher. But 6 is way better than how it used to be. I have seen 17-20% inflation all my life because the government used to print money. Indian government used to print money earlier. And by print money, the inflation will go up. That you learn in economics 101, in the basic introductory economics. American government is doing the same thing. They have printed $1.5 trillion and just given to people. So what happens? The same economic activity, same wealth, but more money, so inflation. So India has become more prominent because we managed the corona crisis well. We have learned how to work from home and we are very established now. None of my neighbors in my building where I live go to office every day. 2 things have happened. And third thing is that people have figured out how to work from home effectively and productively. So that has reduced lots of costs. So we have become more efficient also. So these are the 3 positive outcomes of corona. Positive in business sense. Personal losses, I said I'm going to keep that aside for now. Okay, long answer, but that's what it is. Anything else?
Yeah. In continuation to the same question, what is the relevance of decentralization with work from home coming in? Decentralization of authority, like the concept of holacracy or intrapreneurship. So what is the relevance in the Indian context? Yes.
See, there's if you go back to India a few decades ago, the human resources manager used to be called personnel manager, right? And and that person was very powerful. In fact, and it all came from factory concept, right? So there would be some personnel manager who would be hiring and firing, and that is when people from the villages used to tell somebody in the city, hey, can you help me get a job? He will go and beg the personnel manager, my brother, my cousin, whatever, and then they used to get absorbed into the work. So that guy was extremely powerful. And so huge amount of authority was given because all the labor issues were to be managed by him. Now HR is mostly her, but then it was mostly him because it used to be dealt with people issues and people are fighting and that guy is not coming and all those labor unions and all of that. Now, so the power used to be very centralized through this HR, and there would be hiring, firing, everything will done, promotion, all of that. That is because there were more people looking for fewer jobs. Because the jobs are very few. Even when I was graduating 30 years ago, more than 30, from IIT Kanpur, so I went to best college. I didn't get any jobs. I may have gotten some useless job here and there, but something really good job like you guys will get, I didn't get anything. There were not many. There were very few jobs anyway. Even those who got jobs, we got only 3,000 to 2,500 rupees per month salary. It wasn't good. Even from Indian standards, life, it was not good. So like everybody else, I also went abroad, but that's a separate story. What happened is that now we have created more jobs. IT happened to India. We are exporting more than $200 billion of IT. That is, that is so huge, to 250 now actually. And the total $750 billion of overall exports. So we have more jobs now. So suppose you have expertise in artificial intelligence and you can do machine learning and you can create products using all these new technologies. You graduate out of college, you get a job, you get 7 lakhs per month, per year. Next job, you may get 20. And you know who will be powerful in that discussion? You would be. The student or the new fresh employee with 2 years of experience will have more power over the HR guy who will be begging, sir, come for interview only, no? If you don't like it, you can go back. I've seen that happen. When HR people are begging for somebody, some good candidate to come and join. So what happened is that because of the supply and demand equilibrium has moved, the power equation has also moved. Whoever has the power, whoever has the ability to add value has the influence and therefore power. So that. And secondly, the power is to be executed just by observing people working how many hours, like I was saying earlier, that if you're coming in on time, you're going on time, the lunch break is on time. In factory, there used to be that sound like a railway siren. So people, lunch break, the siren, you have to be back. If you're not, then your salary will be cut. Very powerful HR there, right? So that thing is gone now. Slowly people started coming at 10 o'clock, going at 6 or 7 or 8. Sometimes people come at 10 and go at 4 or towards traffic, so I'll go early today. And nobody can say anything. Some people come at 8 and go at 4. I used to do that. I used to go at 8 and I would come back by 3:34 because I don't want to get stuck in traffic. I could choose all that and HR had no power over me. And now post-COVID, when people are working from home, the HR guys have almost even like insignificant. They have no power at all over you because you are reporting to your manager who's looking at your job. So if you're attending all the calls, you are solving all the problems, you're writing all the code, you're doing all the testing, or you're managing your managers, you're bringing the business. So what we are doing now is instead of, I have used this term for a very long time when I was working for Reliance also. I was very young compared to many other people and I was very successful despite my age. So I was in the 30s, but I was doing a job equivalent to, I was running the entire operations. I was running the entire Reliance operations, telecom operations. And everybody else was like 50 and above. So they would all be targeting me, putting me down in front of, hey, this kid, how does he know? So I used to say that, no, I don't report to you. So one of them was my boss. I said, I don't report to you, I report to my job. Reporting to my job means there is a certain specific defined criteria against which I have to report my performance. And I'm doing that, that is my boss. So I'm reporting to my job, I'm not reporting to you. And I also created one word. And that is just again me, I have not used it. That Sabka Malik Ek, that is a Sai Baba thing that in Mumbai is very popular terminology, Sabka Malik Ek. I don't know why Sai Baba has become so popular, but I used to say that Sabka Malik Ek means I also report to the owners, you also report to the owners. You happen to be in my way of progress, that means you are not a good boss. So therefore the power equation has completely changed, and Corona in the services industry, very people have power. So some people are misusing also, obviously. Like that guy was in the shower and taking a call and without knowing. That is terrible, very embarrassing. I don't know what happened to him, but not Indian, American guy. But at the same time, the power structure has completely changed. Sadly, about 6 years ago in one of the conferences, it was about the design of work for future, or future, how the work is going to be in the future. This was way before Corona. And what I had said then is that The work will be divided into smaller pieces, and each piece will be given to each person, and it will be recombined. Just like, in a parallel processing computer, you have distribute the work and distributed computing, so distributed working. I think all those models are going to work, and there will be no more power. You report against your outcome, that's it. If you do the outcome, you meet the criteria of performance, you get the job. Maybe you are getting paid by the hour also, who knows, as opposed to fixed salary that you collect every month. So a lot of things are going to change. When you graduate, half of you may be working completely freelance, and that will be accepted model of working. You will still get married. A lot of people, freelancers, don't get married today because they cannot report a fixed income. So all of that will change. Everything will going to change, but it's going to be for the good. Okay, well, thank you everybody. Anything else? I guess this was a long answer.
Please come.
Thank you, sir, for your excellent insights and experiences. Thank you for taking time gracing this business conclave with your presence and sharing your thoughts. I now request our principal, Nagarjuna Degree College and Director Management Studies, NGI, Dr. Harish Babu S., to thank our today's guest, Mr. Amitabh Satyam, Chairman of Smart Transformations and former Managing Partner of SAP India, Bangalore. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for your presence. We end the session 3 of day 1. Tomorrow, whoever is present in the paper, please report to college on time. Thank you.